Hello guys, how's it going? Hi Bill, good to see you. Hello Battery, hello Swift, hi Sasa, hi Jay, hi Spider. What's up guys? I am here. Later stream today, but the weather was too nice to be inside when it wasn't dark outside. I did type a novel. I did because I wanted to say a thing or two about the conversation that was had between Spin and another viewer or another Discord person, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. Hello Swift, thank you. I just put my hair up. Hi Cheese, good to see. How are you? Hi Mighty Knight. Hi Calvin. Yeah, anyways, yeah, it was honestly, I had a lot to say about it because I think that it's something that I hear so often in chess. Where people, assume you're not your rating or assume that there's a lot of similarities between, one group of people versus the other in terms of rating specifically, which is just completely inaccurate because that's just not how rating works. Oh, nothing really happened. There's just a conversation. He was the one having the conversation already. Like, I think it was something about 15 and 1900s making very similar mistakes and the same amount of mistakes. And I'm just like, well, that's just not true at all. And then another one was just like how rating doesn't take into account other factors like variables. Like I think luck was one, and like how somebody might be feeling, and like their maybe even like security in chess. But then my argument was that it does take all of that into consideration. It's not perfect, but it does take, it's the best thing we have in terms of accurately describing like how skilled somebody is. So that was just a conversation. It wasn't like, it wasn't anything serious. Hi, Gregory. It was just interesting. And I had to say, I had a lot to say about it because there's a lot to say about it. And, like, it's just not true that 15 and 1900s are on the same level. That's not how that works at all. No matter what people think, that's just like, that's not how probability works. Yeah. Yeah. It's not even about like having different strengths, weaknesses. It's just about the amount, more than anything. In chess, there's so many different areas to focus on, and you might be better at it the higher rating you are, right? But like comparatively, you're not as good as possibly somebody who's, a few, I don't know, ratings higher than you, like a few milestones, and I consider milestones like 100 points, right? And it's the same, right? So like there's not much of an argument to be made there. Just they're just not the same. Somebody who's 1500 is not on the same level as 1900 at all. Hi, Wisdom. Yeah. Oh, maybe Calvin. No, it's not about beating somebody. It's about being at the same level. 700 to 2700. It's about a 1500 being a 1900. And when I say same level, I literally mean that. It's about 1500 underperforming enough to be a 1500 that is secretly a 1900. That's not really a thing. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I am absolutely, arguing that people's ratings are accurate. That's it. Unless you played 5 games total. No, I'm not saying that. 1500 can beat a 1900. It's about how often they beat a 1900. Hi, Philip. How's it going? Who's a super GM? I think there's always like a small chance, but I'm assuming it's close to 0 if you're a GM and they're like 1200. It's very, very different. And like my point being also was it wasn't just about the rating. It was more so that people watch a game of somebody who's higher rated playing, and they'll assume that that person isn't playing up to their level. And the reason they assume that is because of the knowledge gap overall. And it's that, you know, if you're not an expert in this game, you have a limited amount of knowledge in the game. And the lower rated you are, the less knowledge you have. However, that knowledge spreads to be your whole canvas, even though it's only a part of it. So when you're watching somebody playing and they're losing, who's maybe 400, 500 points higher, you're only seeing things you know. You're not seeing every other thing going on the board. Therefore, you're assuming that they're playing at a lower level or they're not playing up to their level, you know? And that is only an assumption because of the incapability like of somebody who's lower rated. And this goes for everybody, obviously. If I'm like looking at a game with a GM, I'm not going to be able to see what they're seeing. And so like that's why there's this like sometimes idea in chess that like somebody who is, you know, a few hundred points higher isn't much better than somebody who's a few hundred points lower, which is not actually really true. So yeah. Yeah, one game isn't good. It's a good sample size, exactly. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. There's a lot of nuances. So yeah, if somebody's watching a GM play and they're like, huh, they're not playing that well, first of all, they're playing against somebody else who's also an expert. Second of all, there's a lot that you cannot see if your knowledge is capped off. You know what I mean? If you don't understand as much theory or you don't know as much theory, you don't recognize as many patterns, you're just missing so much information of the whole game that it's impossible to make an accurate conclusion of what exactly is going on. And that's why it's easier for people to just assume that grandmasters that sucks or something like that, or you know, they're playing such a bad game. In reality, they might not be playing that bad of a game, relatively speaking, but you know, comparatively, if their opponent's playing better, then yeah, like it might be a bad game for them, but overall, you know, it's not. Does that make sense? Oh, absolutely, Calvin. It's yeah, there's definitely a word for that specifically, and it's research. It's backed up or backed yeah, it's backed up research that, you know, your not your skill level drops, but like you don't try as hard when you're like playing against. It's not just for chess, it's just in general. It's like a psychological thing, but you don't try as hard because you think there's a lot of leeway there, and that causes trouble. It's happened to me many times before. It's actually very annoying. It's very annoying, but it's definitely a thing. Yeah, instincts are built as you improve in the game. So yeah, instincts are important, but they are a part of the skill, really. Oh, interesting, Gregory. Interesting. But yeah, right. And that's the thing, Sasa. Like you can learn a lot, you know, and I think that the whole point of discussing this topic specifically is to understand the importance and what your primary focus in chess should be. It shouldn't be to be judgmental and to like assume that the grandmaster, the expert, the person higher than you is just playing trash and they're not deserving XYZ, because nobody out there is, you know, nobody out there can tell somebody what they're deserving of or not. Like it's just that doesn't help you at all. But like the goal is to try to understand why they're doing what they're doing and to learn from them. I think that's just such a better goal than just to like, I don't know, make assumptions, because at the end of the day, like it just makes you look like an idiot if you're one of those people who's judging somebody who's like miles better than you are. So it's like, what's the point? That's why I was saying I don't bother. Like even if a grandmaster's playing bad and I'm looking at a game, I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, what the hell, they're just sucking. Like, and I'm not gonna be like they're playing the same as I am, because it's just not true. They're not playing the same as I am. They're playing miles better than I am, even if I can't see that. Mm. Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people say that, how does a GM miss that? It's like, yeah, you're looking at an engine. That's very different. So You'll be this time next year. I was already 2000. I'll hit it again before next year, unless I stop progressing completely. Yeah. Yeah, but that just, like I said, that just explains why people make assumptions. Just because, it's a lot of the Dunning-Kruger effect, really, of thinking you know more than you know because you think that the knowledge that you have is all of the knowledge out there for that specific topic, which is just not, it's not true. Fair enough, but I think that the focus when you're 50 drops, there's obviously other things that happen, biologically, but I would definitely assume that, when you're 50, unless like you're still a super tryhard, you got other shit going on. Hey, what's up, Bishop? Mm. Hey, welcome, Nee. I'm gonna be playing some Rapid. You really do everything. True, you know everything. I don't know. I just thought that like that was worth commenting on because I also think that it, like I was saying, it takes people sometimes years to even go up 100 points in chess. So I think that it can be extremely dismissive of somebody's efforts to, assume that, or to compare them to somebody who's like 400 points lower. It's like, really, dude, I put in the work in order to be this rating. And I mean this in like a general sense. I don't really give a shit, but like, imagine you put in the work and somebody's like, there's like no difference between, your, I don't know, 1900 and your 1200. Like, it's a little like insulting because people at 1200 do not play anything like 1900s. Both make mistakes, obviously, and that's just chess, but, you know, I think it's important to give credit where it's due. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, GMs, I mean, it's just like I said, miles and miles better. All I can do is learn from them. Like, I can't be sitting there being judgmental because what do I know? Like, that's not gonna, that never helps to be judgmental, honestly, is when somebody's better than you. Yeah. Chess is super hard, and that's why I think that's why it's very, very important to give credit where it's due, and like not to insult somebody's rating or to disregard it and to compare it to somebody much lower because it's just like, you know, clearly a person, reached this rating because they got put up against other opponents and, climbed the ladder. That's just how rating works. So there's like, it's not like a subjective thing. It's definitely much more objective. You can definitely also learn from people worse than you for sure. I don't know, the perfect height for men. Yeah, that's, yeah, chess, height, men, the same thing, I guess. Maybe Bishop. Maybe you're, I mean, yeah, they're born to the rating if we're comparing chess and height. Yeah, it's always hard. That's the thing, like, chess doesn't ever stop being hard because I don't think I've ever once, like, have been at a rating and I was like, this isn't hard, And, like, you pass it, but, like, it takes so much effort to pass that rating. Like, because I've been playing, like, consistently for 3 years as well, and yeah, it has never been easy. Even when I improved quickly, it wasn't easy. It required a lot of thinking and a lot of effort and control even. And so it's exhausting. And that's why it's not easy. And every rating milestone matters in chess. You know, from 18 to 1900 was very difficult. From 19 to 2000, it was hard. I reached 2000 and, I'm 1900 now and I'm working on reaching again and it's hard. It's hard the second time around too. So like I'm sure it gets easy once like if you make a new account and like Smurf or something like that to a certain extent, but like let me tell you, like it's hard. Yeah. I realized how naive I was, exactly. Then it gets like even harder, Swift. The gap from 2000 to 2100. Really? What's your peak right now, Bishop? Hmm. If it's like intuitive Calvin. Yeah. But like it, you know, that the thing is you have to make it's hot, one sec. You just have to make a lot of decisions in chess, so it takes a lot of energy if you're playing classical chess or even slower rapid. And there's unfortunately what's interesting, I was like I started reading Thinking Fast and Slow again, and it goes into the research behind um intuitive thinking and slow thinking, and like it talks about that and how self-control and like self-regulation also takes the same energy. Like basically you share energy amongst those things, like making decisions, like for example playing chess and like calculating, that slow thinking. But self-regulation and like emotional control also takes a lot of energy out of you, so that if you're basically working with these two things at once, over time throughout the day, you're going to not be able to regulate and you're not going to be able to make as good decisions. I just thought that was kind of like interesting because in chess, it's can be a very emotional game, and when you play a chess game and you're investing all of that energy to calculate, to make good decisions, and then you're losing, you're also investing energy to regulate emotionally. And so you're basically like working very, very limited energy depending on how many games you're playing in a day. And like that kind of like, you know, brings me back to like tournaments and how difficult they can be. Because it's emotionally exhausting. It's beyond just the competitiveness of it. Hey, Ron, stream is good. How's it going? Yeah, it happens, Arif. Yeah, no, for sure. Mental resilience. Yeah, so necessary for chess. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, like I've talked to so many people and they're like, oh, like I haven't been able to basically not feel emotionally affected after a game. And you know, these are people who've been playing their whole lives. And so it makes you think of how exactly like how difficult it is to even emotionally be able to regulate and deal with that type of loss, because it's just so exhausting, the game itself. And so like I don't know, you get it though. Yeah, be done for the yeah. If you lose 3 in a row, I bet you would be pretty freaking exhausted after that, honestly, right? So it's a lot. Mm-hmm. Where you moved your rook between your opponent's knight and bishop. Where you moved your rook between your opponent's knight and bishop. Which move was that? Oh, you're talking about the one with the queen, knight and bishop from yesterday, right? The one that I won. Oh yeah, the game after that was insane with the freaking pawns. I think I could have drawn that game if I just stayed in the center. Like, you don't want to go to the edge with the king, the you know, the bishop and the knight, because I was actually able to exchange down because I had a lot of pass pawns. But I bet there might have been a way to play that to actually get a pass pawn, but it's very difficult, and I was running out of time at that point. So has super high rate. He does. How do you know that? But I believe it. You know. Da, da, da. Especially since there's so many different openings and variations people can play against me. Space well, what I can tell you though is that, you know, just again based on what I've researched and focused on, um you need to actively recall. So with openings, a little tricky because you're not going to get the same opening every game. You might get something completely different. So I haven't applied this myself yet, but like just based on what I know and how it applies to learning in general, and you talk about like repetitions, whatnot, like you would have to practice active recall, and I think that probably means setting up a workshop, if that's what it's called, on chess.com, and practicing the position from your head. Does that make sense? Like actively recalling, so like creating the position by yourself with no handicap, like not focused, like not looking at anything, and then seeing how well you did, and then going back, checking, and then trying again. And I would assume that it would apply to your games that you play as well, like when you're analyzing them, to just like by yourself, like play out the positions without the engine. That would be important, you know? Like that's the, because I haven't, like I said, I haven't been really studying openings much yet, but I would assume that that's what would help you remember more than anything. That's why like recently I've just tried to like play out the position by myself without the engine. Yeah. Well, it depends what you're trying to get out of chess. Like if it's something that's enjoyable, you know, sure. Um, but I think that chess can help you a lot in other areas. I think it can help you with problem solving and critical thinking. Obviously, there's so much more to critical thinking than just like sitting there and thinking about a move, you know. But I think that good stuff can come out of it if you like, if you can be bothered with applying the skills elsewhere. But like I do think that it's good for the brain overall. It's like a good exercise. Mm-hmm. With every opening variation, yeah, that's where it gets a little tricky. I would assume it's just better to focus on one thing at a time, or just a few things without overdoing it. But I would assume that there's also notations, like notation specifically would matter a lot. And I know Chessable has courses for that, you know, with openings and whatnot, but I don't use it that much. Like I've been thinking of going back into notation specifically, but I'll let you know like if anything changes, because I, you know, as you know, openings are an area that I haven't really like bothered with too much at the moment. Like, and when it comes to, you know, like um space repetition, I haven't tried that either yet for openings specifically. I've been going through endgames and doing that, at least with just repetition specifically. I haven't like been trying spaced yet, but I'm really much more focused on active recall at the moment. And I think that it helps me to go through the puzzles and like, you know, like really look at the position, analyze, and then try it all over again, and then like not move by move but the whole sequence at once. Alrighty. I do use Chessable, actually. I use it for the end game, Calvin. I'll be playing today. I'll give myself one more day with end games. We can do rapid today and then I'll go from there. Oh. Honestly, how do you not get attached to your rating? Good question, actually. Um I've that's not a problem I've had for a long time. Like I haven't even thought about that. I think for me, once upon a time I was like I cared more, but then I realized that, you know, if I'm at that rating, I'll come back to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess I just don't like, I don't really see my rating as a big part of my identity in chess, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't really matter what rating I am. Although, like, obviously, I focus on rating in the sense to, like, I want to hit milestones, but I guess I don't know. I just feel like I'll reach it again. Like, it shouldn't be a problem to maintain that rating if I'm good enough and the action matters more than whatever rating is. I don't know. That's a good question though. Maybe there's people in here who can give a better advice. I don't know, it's just not something I struggled with for a long time. I just don't really care. Because like why would I, like why should I care? I guess the question, like what is my rating going to get me, more or less, you know what I mean? Like what am I getting out of caring about my rating? And I think the answer is really nothing. so so there's no point of like caring if it doesn't like benefit me in many ways. Why should I care? Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't care. You should just focus on improving and, you know, the fun of the game too, and what it can get you, because I think there's a lot that chess can help you with. I think it can definitely help you with pattern recognition, like I said, problem solving, if you allow it to. Like, that's the thing. If these are things that you're not actively thinking about how they can help you, you're not going to be able to use them in other areas of your life. I think that with any skill that you attain over time and you improve in, like chess, you need to like be able to make connections to your life. Like how does pattern recognition apply to my life? How does it apply? How does critical thinking apply? You know, how does patience even apply to my life? Like how have those things helped me improve in the game, and how can they help me in other areas of my life or other skills? Because I realize there's so many connections between them. So like, I don't know. I like that. Hi, what's up, Highway? How you doing? They're not transferable. You don't think pattern recognition is transferable? Like being aware of it, because that's what it gives you, though. Like you don't think that's transferable? Like, you know, recognizing that you should look for patterns in life to make decisions, because sometimes these patterns show up and we completely miss them because we're not aware of them, and then we more or less make decisions that are bad even though we had the answer before we made that decision that it was bad because of patterns. Because I'm interested, sorry, because I'm interested in like understanding, you know, that like I just, I don't know, I just think it personally helped me. I'm like, okay, there's so many similarities between life and chess, you know, where again, like patterns become intuitive, and so being able to recognize patterns, it's very good life lessons come from chess. Like in chess, being able to recognize patterns means that you're able to make quick decisions without using much energy, and good decisions, because they become instinctual, like they're intuitive. Intuitive's the better word. They become intuitive, and because that happens in chess, don't you think that happens in real life too? Because like there's not much of a difference there. You know, chess is patterns, but there's many other patterns that play out in your life in chess. So I think there's like a lot of good foundational lessons that you can learn from chess. So you just gotta like be open to it, to recognizing it. Like I think in everything you do in your life, you should be asking how this basically relates to the bigger picture. Hmm. I don't know, Highway. I mean, it seems like some not the best, but I think that's because this is more than just a game chess. Like I think that this requires you know, your ability to think. Like it requires you to be able to think about your choices and to think about, you know, what you're doing, think about what you believe, everything. So, mhm. That's true. That's definitely a lesson you can learn, right? Yeah, there's a lot. I can see material in a different, more clear way. That's so interesting. I bet. I feel like chess helped me a lot too. Yeah, definitely. No, don't get me wrong. There are people definitely who play chess and are very good at chess that aren't good at these things outside of chess. But that's because there is a difference again. Like there is a difference, and these are, I think these differences, like specifically with intuition, pattern recognition, they aren't processed in the same area as your ability, like your awareness almost. And so that's why like you need to be able to apply, you know, I guess metacognition specifically, in or like apply to chess to understand it, how it applies everywhere else. So just, I think that's something that people should research. I think it can help a lot of people. Like, you know, we all talk about cognition all the time, but I think we should definitely talk about metacognition as well and how important it is to understand why we think and why we do what we do. I don't think you need to name 190 countries. It doesn't really benefit you in many ways. I can't name 190 countries either. I don't really care about like that type of information can be valuable at times, but like I think a lot of times not that valuable. Like it's not the most practical. It doesn't like, affect your life too much. Pawn formation's true. I'm working on that too. I can't name 50, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with you being okay with that. Hi Psalms, how's it going? Okay, we can play some chess now. Yeah. Nothing's over until it's over, exactly. That's when people tell me to quit. I'm like, why? There's been so many games I won when I was losing. I don't really know why people think that you should quit when you're, not ahead. Because again, like, you're not a grandmaster, you're not playing at a grandmaster level. There's going to be so much room for mistakes from your opponent that it's just insane to quit when you're at a disadvantage. Yeah, that's true. I mean, sometimes you're right. Like, I think that if you're spending a lot of time, unless you're trying to go further with it, like, it just comes down to what fulfills you and what matters to you. If you think 6 to 7 hours of chess a day is detrimental, there's no point. You're right. You should focus your energy elsewhere. For some people, like, maybe it just makes them very happy and maybe, they got their other needs met. So it's not the worst thing for them to be doing that. So it's like definitely a more individual by individual thing rather than like a collective. Yeah, even like an extra level that stuff happens. So different. Right. All right. I mean, if you want to have children, go for it. Then you should try to be the best parent you can be and focus your energy there. Yeah, can it, Spider? I never heard that argument. It's interesting. I don't know. That's just how I like to look at things. Like, okay, how can I connect these things? How can like I make sense of all of it? And I find that like when you do that, you realize there's value in a lot of things that seemed one-dimensional, maybe. Setting marks. I actually got some new books I'm going to be reading, but they're all very neuroscience-y. Okay, I gotta like behavior science. Already close Sicilian defense. I bet they're gonna play d4. Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. Yeah, I personally have transferred to other parts of my life, so I like it. I just want to experience being the best Fortnite player. But actually enjoying getting good. Interesting. I think that a lot of people actually experience that, truth be told. Oh, bet. I have to focus because I've been kind of like, you know, I'm disappointed with my last game yesterday. Even though this was a really good game, I feel like there was a lot of opportunity for a draw, or even maybe if I was really lucky for something better. So I don't really play close Sicilian defense too often. Yeah, I will say things become more fun as you improve in them, but you have to put the, effort to improve. Well, that's not how that works, Ayuk. That's I just want to point that out real quick that it's not that something isn't transferable, because truthfully these kind of skills can be learned elsewhere. It's that you need a different skill in order to attain these specific skills, and you wouldn't you wouldn't per se be going to chess player for things like that, because you can learn these skills elsewhere. So it's very different than what you're essentially imagining, really. One sec, let me think. I want to almost play this, but then what are they going to play? Let's play this. Yeah, it's different. Like, you can, that's the thing, these are foundational skills that can be learned everywhere else. But in order to learn these type of things, there's a few things that need to happen. And one of them is that you can't just be good at chess, you have to be aware enough to like recognize what lessons there are from chess. Do you know what I'm saying? It's different. It's not the same thing. Nice, good luck at the gym. Yeah, well, I mean, that's okay if you don't agree with me, but I think that there's no point of disagreeing or agreeing with me. I think that you should first look into what I'm discussing. I'm talking about metacognition specifically and the effects of metacognition. There's like some other good research out there that goes further than metacognition to discuss, application of certain things. And so, you know, the goal isn't really to agree. I think it's just to listen and to take it into consideration in the future if you ever decide to look more into this. Da, 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 da. You researched it, so you know about the neuroscience research, the behavior science research for this stuff? Or okay, where should I put this? I don't mind too much over here. Then that. Yeah, I don't know why warfare was a comparison, really, but okay. Do do do. I am. I've been up on time, but then I lose time. Do do do. Do do do. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about, salty fish. And we were discussing that, and you know, because the argument was that, well, I was arguing that chess helps in other areas of your life, and some others, at least one person is arguing it doesn't. And then they mentioned that, the whole, warfare thing, which that's not how that works. But I still think that it can very much help you. Just like many things, like skills in general can help you with much of like foundational building, I would argue. Yeah, what Camille said, and that's what I'm saying, and awareness comes from metacognition. Amongst a few other things, but metacognition is a skill, and you can be very good at chess without having that skill. In order to be able to transfer knowledge, like foundational stuff from the game into other areas of your life, you have to first be aware of what knowledge that you have on that and how it affects, you know, your overall, I guess. How do I don't know how to explain it. You get it. I gotta focus on this game. Oh, you probably can, Jay. Hello, Spencer. Uncle Chess, thanks for the raid. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Shout out to Uncle Chess. Chess. I can't read Uncle Jesse. Not Uncle Chess, but you know what? Uncle Chess sounds cool too. Uncle Chess. Welcome. But anyways, I wasn't saying people need to agree with me. It's not about like it's not dichotomous like that. It doesn't need an agreement, doesn't need an agreement all the time. Sometimes just it helps to listen and take that information. You don't need to agree with it. You don't need to do anything you don't like that with it. I think that we're very like people love like either being right or wrong. Like arguments aren't. This is like what I learned when I was taking a class in argumentation, but a lot of times arguments, the purpose isn't to instantly persuade somebody and change their minds. It's more so to make people think and consider over time, because that's just not how it works. Like, people obviously have their own opinions, and it takes a while, like, to sometimes, maybe evolve those opinions, change them, whatever. And so I don't know. I just thought it's kind of interesting. All right, they just did that. I wonder why. Hmm. They just gave us a pawn, but why? I mean, let me think what's gonna happen here, because like, where can they possibly move that is going to? They can't move there. They can move there, but that's not gonna really do anything. I can just check. They could do this. In that case, maybe something along the lines of that, this. Either way, I don't think it's a critical move, and I should probably focus on what's a critical move versus not. These are great. I like them. Wow, what a name. I'm just gonna call you Eat. Right. Interesting. Not a critical move. I will not waste time, because I'm trying to work on that. As you guys already know, like, I haven't been spending the time in the right areas, in the right moves, so I'm gonna definitely try to work on that these next few streams. Exactly, and that's what I was trying to argue, Swift, because it's done the same for me. It's actually made me focus a lot on patterns, and I've noticed that I can make decisions much faster, and I can make good decisions. And that was through connecting pattern recognition in chess, like being like, like intuitively I see that, like, or like you see a pattern consistently playing out that's bad in chess, and then you're like, okay, like I'm gonna look for patterns in real life that are consistently, negative, and then do the opposite of that. So interesting. Your opponent. Mm. They're trying to play this, or I want a castle because we still have a check. But I'm trying to understand what the hell the point of this move is. Okay, say that we castle, they play this. You know, we play that. And then I almost just want to play this. Unless they're trying to trap me, I think that that's worth considering. Which I don't really maybe see. Like, I see something like this. However, I don't think we're trapped. I think there's plenty of places to go. So... But I almost just want to play like a prophylaxis move because nah, I'm not gonna bother. I think we're fine. Truth be told. Just because of the check. If we didn't have the check, I'd be a little bit more worried. Not the case though. Not at all. Yeah, maybe not the most confident. I think that's probably a good way of putting it. Wait, a potential date? Chess Destroyer, thanks for the raid. Welcome, shout out Chess Destroyer. I read as much of chat as I can. Not always all of it because I can't focus. I'm like, you know, switching my attention between the two. How was your stream? GG tells jokes. Is that supposed to be a joke? Sometimes in a quarter when I like to kick them with a pony. Interesting. I think there's a joke in there that I don't know. I don't think I can beat him because notations would be enough. Notations are probably one of the best ways to study, I would assume. Just when I was like, when I was playing over the board and using notations, and like, you know, practicing the notations, I think it, for whatever reason, just kind of helps more in creating maybe more connections or something like that. Yeah. I think they're talking more about like analogies, maybe. But I don't know about representation specifically, but anyways. Who can't talk with their hands? I did have a chess coach when I was from 13, 15. 100. Mm-hmm. We'll do that right away. And then maybe not the best to play something like that. I think that can definitely put us in like a not so good. So we'll do this. Maybe I hope this is not like my concern with these moves specifically is that how do I put this? Let's think. I mean, I don't like taking the B pawn, as you all know, so I'm not gonna do that, and I think that doesn't help because, a lot more happens here. Mm-hmm. It is easier to remember. Well, actually, no, it's easier to remember images, but I think it's because you're creating multiple connections. So not only like you visually seeing what's going on the board and recognizing patterns, but notations themselves are another way of more or less remembering the information. But yeah, no, I images are definitely easier to remember than numbers. Okay, let me think what they're gonna play if I go ahead and play. We'll do that. Yeah, because pictures do tend to have more information. That's why they're remembered more easily. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Memory is a bit more like memory specifically is more nuanced than that. And it's not what I've learned is that it's not always about having just a bad memory. Sometimes it's because you don't understand the information and it comes off like you have a bad memory, but that's not the case. Obviously, sometimes it is bad memory, but depends. It doesn't know, and that's why my strategy has to lie around it. But let's see what I can do. The light square bishop's always weak in this position, and I have to work on that. I just placed it because I wanted to connect the pawns and defend this over here. That way I can more freely move with the queen because I was thinking, my strategy can be to open this diagonal up. Of course, they also might not let me, so that's to be considered, and definitely felt like the natural move. That way I can actually get my works on the open file. I also grew about associations, and that is what you can learn from chess. I mean, you can learn that from not just chess, that like a lot of things, but you just have to look for them. Lowest seventh, yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, like just based again on what I've researched and what I've learned. Um, yeah, memories are just like so nuanced as you just have a bad memory. It's quite literally because you might not understand something well enough, and like recognizing the difference is important. Like, when is it because I don't actually understand versus when is it because I just have a bad memory. Like, I'm sure there's so much more to it, but because I think that I used to think I have a bad memory, and I realized that's not the case at all, actually. So I certainly can remember things that I find valuable, you know what I mean? And I honestly understand and I associate with other things easily can remember. The things I couldn't remember is things I truly did not understand as much as I assumed I did. Yes, Swift. Yeah. I just don't know how that relates to your overall memory. If, like I don't know. There's a lot to it. It's just not something I know at the moment. You don't know how much chess relates to stamps specifically. Chess is very much more pattern recognition. Chess is an if then statement. It's not like I yeah, I don't know about like the overall connections besides just more foundational stuff maybe, but yeah, I don't know. Jamie, I'm doing good. How are you? I am looking great on time. What the how am I up on time this much? What? That's crazy. Alrighty, well, I gotta decide what I want to go. I could also go here. Definitely afraid of this open file a little bit, so let's see. Hmm. What do I feel like doing? Do I want to let them sit there? Part of me thinks I could do something along the lines of this. It's not the worst place to start. We'll do that. I guess I could have connected and played that, but we'll see. Figure it out. Yeah, it is like the 16. Wait, yeah, it's the 16 move of the game, and it's almost over. I feel like I just talked this whole game. I didn't even play. I'm just like basically making like small moves at the moment, like nothing big. You know what I mean? Interesting. That's definitely not what I was looking at. Oh, I should just play that because I definitely see possible issues with something like that. But let me think. I did not look at it at all. This. They can play that. I'm a little bit concerned, I will definitely argue. Scared. Because if we go like this, they go there. We go here. They go there. The problem is we quite literally can get mated over here. So truth be told, I might just ignore it. That sucks, but I might ignore it because I don't think that it can work. Da, da, da. Let's calculate everything first, though. Let's see. It's scary. There's a lot of pieces there. Hmm. I think that because they have three pieces here that work hand in hand, it's not so simple. You know what I mean? Like, say this, and then that. So if we take here, we're looking at possibly giving up, you know, possibly giving up the queen. So I don't know. I don't really want to give up the queen though. I think that we're just down 2 points. We can still play this out. So I think I'm just gonna play it out, and I need more defenses towards the king side. But let's see. We'll do this. I think I may have gotten a little too wrapped up in the conversation. That's my bad. So let's see. I want to play this. Maybe, and then get them the hell out of there first of all. That way we're defending this as well. Let's see. This bishop needs to be better now, but let's see. I see ideas like this. You know what I mean? If that's the case, definitely a little difficult. Play that. This happens. Alright, I'll play this first. This. Okay. I want to say that, but then we have this, and I don't really like that either. Well, let's see. But that creates like a backwards pawn that I'm not the most excited about. Let's bring this there. This, that. Alright, I have to actually start calculating now. Let's see. Yeah, that's my bad. I should have seen that. That was pretty obvious looking at it now. You know? But do your best, I guess. It's not a good move. Doesn't really matter. I'll just let them take it all. Truth be told. And then let's not go towards the line of fire, first of all. Actually, let's do... No, but then they can take it. We'll do that. Do that. That. My bad. Let's see. The problem is that this will just keep adding time and makes it a little tough, but let's see. Do that. I see. Do that. And then let's see. I want to say this, but that doesn't work, obviously. So let's just go back. Okay. That's interesting that they decided to play all of this. We'll do that. Why? How am I 4 minutes to freaking... Okay. Oh crap. I wasn't paying enough attention, clearly. Because this shit doesn't freaking work! What the hell? This literally defends it. How lame is that? How did I mess up so badly? I'm so sad. Whatever, I'll try my best. This makes me sad though, I'll say. Okay. The fucking increments. Hmm. I almost just want to go for that, you know? I just don't know if it makes sense to maybe play this, that, then see what they would play. Okay, I'll do this. Why would I resign? Be so for real right now. Da 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 da. Okay. I'll do this. That. I don't know why I'm playing fast. I actually have time to think about this. Ugh. Okay. Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. This. I'll do that. Hmm. Okay, we'll do this. That. This. Maybe not the best though. So this. The knights are just really like, I gotta maybe not go for the okay. Yeah, that's very annoying. This little pawn over here is annoying. Should have been considered further. Let's see. We do have pawns, yes. Okay. I don't want to play this because that's just, I don't want to go back. Let's think here. Okay. I can't believe that it came down to this. Damn, I wish I paid attention. Feel like like an idiot now. Oh well. Can I play this without? Let's think here. Play this. If I play that, they go there. I could play this. Alright, I'm just gonna play it. Screw it. Okay, we did see that. Okay. Let's see now. Can we infiltrate like this without getting forked? No, we can't. So let's do this. Again. That was scary, yeah. Okay. I like this now. Or even this. Ooh, I really have to think about this. I want to say this. They go there. We go here. They go there. We go there. Can they defend? Okay, first of all, let's do this. Ugh, how much time do I have? I really don't feel like letting them go in here. Let's play that. Alrighty. I want to say this. Even that. Okay. This. Okay, this, that. I almost think that they want to play something like that. This. Let's do that. Okay. I'm just gonna play fast because I feel like I need to. Alrighty. Like, I want to say this, but I don't want to let him in. Does that make sense? Let's play this. And now the most important thing is not... Crap, I hope I don't get myself freaking... I gotta be careful here. Like, I don't mind this. This. That. This. That. Crazy game. Hey, thank you so much. Favorite opening? Probably Scotch Gambit. Now I'm focusing, and now this game is lasting 2,000 million years. My goodness. Okay. Okay. That's annoying. But let's see. We'll do this. Crap. So we play this. How is this such a terrible move that, you know, we play this. If we do that, they takes, and then we're left with one pawn? No fucking way. That's insane. Okay. We'll do this. Crazy. I'll do that. Crazy ass fucking game. I need to be more aggressive. Something. Alright, we're in. Kind of. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try it, but I'm now nervous because of the clock. Like, even with something like this, obviously depending on what they play, you know what I mean? Takes, we take back, they take, we don't reach it on time. More or less, we need to just somehow... That. 34 seconds. Thank you so much, Zach. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you for the raid. How was your stream? I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of this kind of difficult game. I'm not gonna make this easy. Tell you that much. Alrighty. Hmm. Oh my gosh. The increment is like crazy. I want to say this, but then I feel like that's a little... Oh my gosh, I have 15 seconds too. So freaking crazy. I don't know. Truth be told, I don't know if I can. Yeah, this is good, but I don't know how to do it. I really don't. Like, I don't have enough time to figure this out. Like, they can go here. I really don't know. Okay. 20 seconds. I need to practice this afterwards. It's crazy how, like, much... Alright, now I think this is... It's crazy how much increment can give you. Seriously. Like, this literally went on for, like, an hour. And, like, the game started when he had, like, 10 seconds. Mind you, that's absolutely insane. Really. Do that. Hmm. Yeah, I honestly, unbelievable. Oh, this is the Sani. Oh crap, again, I think I played the wrong thing. What did I have to play here? I actually don't know. I don't know. Oh, King E7? Oh, you're right, King E7 to... I see. I see. Okay. I need to practice this. So difficult, dude. Ugh, I feel like I can't even play. Okay. How do I do this now? I want to try, but I'm like, I don't have time. I want to say this. I don't know, dude. I don't have time. So hard. Yeah, I have not done this in a while, and I guess I'll just put time into practicing after this. I want to say this. Yeah, this is over, I think. But let me think. I just don't see a way, you know what I mean? It's over. I can't win on time. I've been trying to win on time for like a good minute, unfortunately. Let's see. Ugh. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, thank you. I'm just gonna play, I guess. But there's nothing I can do, truthfully. I don't think there's perpetual check. What's the Eric Rosen trap? Oh, I lost on the clock. Increment certainly has its flaws. I'm not gonna analyze the beginning of the game. That was honestly a careless move or a careless game because I was not paying enough attention. But I'll look at the end over here where it's a draw. Or is it a draw? Like this is like exactly like yesterday's endgame with all of that work, you know? Okay, so this is a draw, so this is where we have to go. I don't know if I could have. So they take. What the fuck? So there's like. You just have to. Okay, so say they played this because I'm curious. We do that. Seems so easy like when you do it yourself. You know what I mean? Like after you go through a position, it's like, oh, it's so obvious. Did not seem that obvious in the game. So this is a draw. What the heck? Oh, I just literally have to keep at it. Oh my god. So freaking obvious. For the queening. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Actually, I was trying to head there and I think I got my rook involved too early. Oh, it's so freaking lame. Do you also need to cover the rook with this? Rook f6. Yeah. So put your king in front of their pawn and check from the side. Until the pawn passed the 4th, 5th rank after we check from behind. Interesting. Okay. So when it's not past the 4th, 5th rank, what do? You just move to the... A lot of... Too many moves. I can't... That increment's crazy. 92 moves. This is just like yesterday with the endgame. This is why we keep studying endgame, because there's like always freaking more to, you know? And if they go there, we could just... We move there. I'm trying to think. Okay, if that's their best move. Hmm. And then you just keep checking, which was trying to do that. Well, okay, well, how about this now? Right? This, and then you don't let them... Oh, that way they can't... They can only go to these two. Philidor position? Okay. Is there like a chessable? Or does chess.com have practice for this? Because I should probably just practice and remember this position. I don't remember the last time I was in this position. I understand it would be better. I do understand the idea. I just needed a move for the rook because I don't think it matters at this point. But I knew that you need to get your king in front of the pawn. And I think it's the... Are there any pawns that aren't a draw? Oh, because it's in the corner, it's a draw, right? So center pawn, pass pawn with a rook. I only know it with the kings. I don't know with the rooks. Yeah. Hmm. So would the same thing apply for the center? I gotta look at a lesson for this. So let's look over here to see if this was okay. This wasn't the best. Why is this not the best? Like, why is this considered a mistake? It seems silly. This is still fine. Still fine. Check. Oh. Oh. Didn't think this would work. I really didn't. No. So we just would have had 2 pawns. And then they take. And then... Oh. Why didn't I think of that? If they take, what happens is that with the bishop, we now have this open file. So honestly, it would have been better if they took. Oh, sorry. What the fuck? Anyways. I thought it would be better. Oh, sorry. That's a check, so I should do that. But... Now they do have the sacrifice, but they don't have the other piece. Okay, so this is where I messed up. Blunder. This was... So this is work. Like, that was my best move. I didn't have any other options. That was... Yeah, that was my bad. I didn't see the sacrifice. I did not see that this wasn't going to be covered, because I was like, oh, it's covered by, you know, the pawn, but I, like, should have thought about that rook open file. These are... Funny enough, like, these are things that I know. But they're just not... I don't, I guess, understand them well enough to remember them or something, like in the middle of a game. Which is annoying, but hey, whatever's. Wow. Who would have thought? Yeah, I must play bullet now because I'm sad. Yeah, they're kind of screwed. That's literally just more or less going to be a mate. There you go. It is. I gonna go through that position. I need to. I must. Bill, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate. I wonder why they gave me that pawn. I don't... That doesn't seem right. Like, to give that pawn away when... Whatever. Okay. Cool, I guess. Do. This. That. We need an escape square. Hmm. Took too long. The Philidor, I see. It was pretty hard. Seems bad, but okay. This. That. 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 Why would I do that? That was actually kind of dumb. Endgame practice, interesting. This, let's see. We'll do that. I don't know. I don't have this 18 seconds for endgame is absolutely insane in my book. Okay. It's not at all something I would. Let's do that. I can't do that and cannot do that in whatever minigame. That's very hard. We'll do that. That. And then this. That. There you go. Cool. Yeah. I'm good off that. I can mate without. I'll do that next. Just want to block them off further if I can. Dang, how did I miss that? Lame. Alrighty. Oh, I went on time. Oh, it's lagging. Sorry. YouTube has been very weird. I don't know why. I don't know. That position was just... that was stressful. But not as stressful as the end game. This. This. And then that. And then, this? Oh, honestly, don't really know what I'm playing. Just playing. I may have missed that. I don't know how, don't know why, but I did. So many freaking pawns. Wow. Oh no. Oh, phew. Okay, we'll do that. That. Oh, I lost some time. I know, Mike. I know. It's crazy stress. I have no idea what's going on, but I need that after that long game. Nice. Oh, I could have probably taken it if I did something like that. We'll do this. That. This. So far, I don't mind this too much. Okay. This. That. What? 5 different people. It's you know, low level thinking more or less, so it makes sense. That's how that would go. Mm-hmm. Okay. I probably can get to 2000 bull eventually. I mean, I hit 1700, you know, so I can certainly. Oh no, that's not at all what I wanted to play. I love, love, love the terrible, you know, the terrible, terrible. Mm-hmm. Kind of getting annoyed. Mm-hmm. If they want to go that or aggro, okay, we'll go aggro back. Alrighty. This. Oh crap. You know what? All is good. I think it can still work out. I hope. Alrighty. Maybe not. Oh, I ran out of time. I did hit 17. I think I passed 1701 actually. I think. Did I not? That. Alrighty. Do this. That. Crap. Might have not been right. Sigh. That sucks. Wrong order, I guess. Mm. Let's just do that. Just get aggro. Why not? Oh, I can't. I lost. You should be able to do exclamation point song. Hmm. Not the best move. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This. That.